Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and informations on Path of Exile. And the first news last week has been that the press tour for the 3.1 expansion has been completed. And well, while we already know what the expansion is about, at the time it wasn't available, and GGG teased us with this preview, which is a unique pair of boots and are actually Rush Colors boots, which, I mean, could be actually guessed by how it's been made. It looks pretty amazing. We'll see later what they actually do. Also, we had an entry post for the developer manifesto talking about monster density in maps and how GGG actually tried to fix maps, or is trying to fix maps, meaning that all of the maps should be runnable and there should not be any map that's actually worse than any other. And it's pretty much your personal preference. So what they try to do is not to normalize the amount of total experience that each map is worth. Rather, they try to normalize the total experience per hour of running that map. So if you're running a very, an annoying map, the one where you have to backtrack a lot, there's probably going to be more monsters there, so that when you actually run that map for a longer period of time, rather than running strands for a long period of time, for example, you will still get a similar amount of experience per hour. So it's going to depend on what you prefer and on what your build can do and can run, which is actually pretty good. I really like this thing. Also, there's going to be a rebalance of the mods, especially the fact that every rollable mod now grants pack size, which is absolutely amazing. So all in all, a random rare map in 3.1 has actually more monster density than a random map in 3.0, which might not necessarily mean more experience, but it's definitely gonna be more fun and it's going to create more interesting situations. So definitely a really good change, at least on paper. Can't wait to actually try it in game. And we also got some video highlights from the Turmoil event. Most of these are actually rips, but not all. Some of those are actually random funny things. So if you're interested in these kind of things, or you cannot follow your favorite streamers around all the time because you actually have a job or something like that, well, be sure to check these out. Also, before releasing the new supporter packs and expansion, GGG actually say that they actually partnered with someone, and now they can offer a huge selection of worldwide payments methods, which is pretty damn good. Also for European customers, which includes myself, prices are now offered in euros, which is amazing because you do not have to pay for the currency conversion fees. Yeah, another cool change, although I don't usually cover these kind of things, but still this is actually an improvement. You can call it a quality of life if you want, even though it's not exactly game related. Also, finally, we got a release for the new expansion, which is called War of the Atlas. And as you can see, there's still 17 days, 23 hours left, so pretty much for 18 days. And there's a very cool trailer over here. GG is getting better at those, I really swear. And, well, what's gonna happen? Basically, there is a new endgame boss, which is the Elder, and the Elder and the Shaper are kind of fighting over maps. So as you can see from the video here, these maps over here are controlled by the Elder and these cloudy ones are controlled by the Shaper. And it's not exactly clear how it works, but it works pretty much kind of like Warbands, although I don't think it's global. But anyway, when you complete certain maps, you will find the influence of the Shaper or of the Elder, and you will kind of push one area or the other to control the zones until you will be able to summon a Guardian from a map boss. Again, it's not clear how it works, but it will all end up in pretty damn cool encounters and culminating into the Shaper or the Elder fights, which are going to be amazing. Also, the Atlas has been reworked and it looks really cool. We'll see that in a moment. As you can see, this is probably the Elder and there's like 4 Guardians again, so pretty much following the Shaper thing, just giving us an alternative. 32 new maps, which is incredibly amazing. You can definitely check the screenshot out. Some of those are really cool. First one is definitely the map where you need to have a movement skill, which is also the first map ever in Path of Exile which requires movement skills to complete, and also the first zone ever, so that's actually pretty cool. And there's also some very cool stuff like elder or shaped items. You can see from the background. I wonder if the background is going to be in the game as well, but still these weapons or armors have specific and different and unique kind of effects. For example, this sword is supported by level 20 chance to bleed, level 20 Wrathless, and level 18 melee splash, which is not something that normally happens. Also has increased area of effect, so pretty damn straight and strong. This armor plus 1 level of stock active gem, it's pretty damn good if you get the rare one, or if you know how to craft well. We'll see how crafting goes with this. For example, these gloves increase projectile damage, slower projectile, faster casting, cast speed. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that are going to change with these special mods. We'll see how rare those are, and we'll see how craftable those are, because that's going to be the big thing. And also we got 10 new gems. 4 are actually active skills and 6 are supports. Sadly, most of those skills are necromancy related, which is not my forte, but I mean, it's definitely really cool. For example, Unearth, which fires a projectile piercing through enemies, impacting on the ground and creating a corpse of a born archer, which, well, I mean, there's a lot of combo with these gems. Body swap looks really interesting to me. You cast it on a corpse and you basically swap places with the corpse, creating an explosion where you were and where you are going to be, which is going to be based on your percentage maximum life or the corpse percentage maximum life. So that is going to be really incredible. I believe this is going to be the new Detonate Dead, but we'll have to see how that goes. Volatile Dead, destroying corpses to actually create an explosion, although this also creates an orb which moves towards enemies before exploding and dealing spell damage in a larger area, which honestly looks to me like a better Detonate Dead, but we'll have to see how that works. Last one is Cremation, which is going to make a targeted corpse explode, dealing area damage and then turning it into a geyser. You can see pretty much this is the skill, and the geyser is going to spit out fire projectiles for a certain amount of time, also dealing damage, of course, and the explosion is dealing 4% of the corpse maximum life, so in some high level maps these skills might be incredibly good. There's also various random supports, so for example, gaining a power charge when hit while channeling supporter skills, also gaining 8% less lightning damage taken from it, and 8% less physical damage taken from it while channeling. This is an incredibly strong defensive gem, if you ask me. Volley supports, making you fire additional projectiles from the side of you. I mean, this is hard to visualize if you haven't seen some of the broken gems that GG released a couple of, I think, months ago, which were not then implemented into the game. One was a kind of a volley gem, which was incredibly strong at the time, but still, I think this is absolutely good. In fact, it has skill deals 25% less projectile damage, because it's amazing and it's very strong. Also, Spell Cascade, which kind of, I'm not sure how it works, but the support area of effect skill also affect areas in front and behind the targeted area. So I think it's going to be kind of a repetition, kind of like Spell Echo, but instead it targets before, it targets the target, and it targets after the spell. So that's going to be weird, but still, support skill deals 50% less damage and 25% less area damage. So given by how nerfed it feels, I'm sure it's actually really strong. Ancestral Call, support skill deals 20% less damage again, but supported attacks skills also target 2 nearby enemies. I'm not sure how this is going to be used anyway. I mean, single target hasn't been a thing in Path of Exile for a long time, so unless, of course, you're talking about boss killing things, but still, even there, most of the time it's just area. There's also 2 unannounced skills, so with those we'll have to wait. And there's new unique items, of course. These are the boots we teased at the beginning of the video. Pretty strange, gaining a frenzy, endurance or power charge once per second while you're stationary. You lose all of the charges when you move. I feel like if you warp around all of the time this works. If you don't, well, it sucks to be you. Probably shouldn't use these boots. Also, warping around is really fucking annoying, but I mean, someone definitely is going to do it. There's a lot of other really good things, for example this incredible dagger, which is really good for cold stuff, although it kind of forces you to be just on your main hand, having your offhand empty, because it gives you 20% chance to dodge attack and 100% increased cold damage while your offhand is empty. So pretty interesting trade that you got right there. And well, there's also other very cool uniques, but I'm not gonna go over all of those. And still, this quill here hasn't been teased yet. I can't wait for it to be an alternate art raw feather. That's not gonna happen, but still will be really fucking cool. Of course, there are new supporter packs if you want to actually support GGG and support the game. Well, definitely go and buy one. You can see all of the tiers. It goes from like 30 bucks to 460, I think. So well, whatever suits you, definitely worth buying some of those. And last but very not least, the Abyss Challenge League. So pretty much there's going to be, I believe it's going to be like Breach, where you have a zone which is kind of broken or something, where foes from the underworld are going to spill out and you will have to fight them. In the video, in the trailer, I think it looked like the land, it burned all around and then monsters came out. I mean, it's definitely really cool. And if it's anything like a Breach, it's going to be a blast. So I really can't wait for this. And last thing before we actually leave is the new Atlas, which is absolutely amazing. You can see the maps are very much more visible than they were before. The drawings in here also are much visible, and I really love this kind of ring around the stronger maps. I believe all of those inside here are red maps, which is actually really cool. Also, if you look well, you can see like the shaper on the right side, which is shaping stuff, and of course the elder on the left side, which is killing people. Of course it's a boss. And well, you might notice that this elder looks really similar to some of the Kitava artwork that were teased before the 3.0 expansion. So I believe some of those artwork were kind of scratched for Kitava, and then they decide to use them for the elder, which actually looks really good. There's also the 4 bosses, main bosses around, and something here. This looks like Zana, Sun, Moon, whatever, I don't know, but still really definitely an improved Atlas if you ask me. And yeah, that was all for this week. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. So that was all. I've been your host Giorgio, and I'll see you guys the next time.